One of the biggest hypotheticals in college football is going to be answered with these playoffs. Well, kind of. But the hypothetical is these teams down south, they can't compete with the teams up north in December, in late November. The cold is going to be too much for them. We'll see how this is going to happen. Now, we got two options here. We have SMU at Penn State, which I think is the really only clear one. Then we also have Tennessee at Ohio State. I think Knoxville and Tennessee is cold enough where the cold element is not going to impact them as much as, let's say, SMU going to Penn State. Folks from Dallas, a lot of that team is from Texas, going up to central Pennsylvania to play in Happy Valley. That, I think, might be where the biggest weather advantage will stand here in the college football playoff. We saw what happened last weekend in the conference championships. We saw teams like Tulane travel up north to West Point. We saw UNLV travel up north to Boise State. Both those teams lost. Both those teams didn't really look like they had a chance. And out the gate, they both looked like they were not ready to play, especially Tulane. Army walked out onto the field, team in short sleeves, hyped up, ready to go. It could have been -6. And those dudes were ready to eat nails. They were like they were really playing into that cold weather home field advantage. And Tulane, on the other hand, they walked out in sweatshirts, no swag, not ready to go, no movement. They had troubles on special teams. They were offsides, delay games. Like, they were not ready whatsoever. And it showed. It really showed. Those guys in West Point, they were comfortable in that environment. And the guys from Louisiana, they were not. And I think we have a game here with SMU traveling to Penn State where I think those weather elements will come into play here. If you put this game on a neutral field and it's in a dome and it's weather controlled, I actually think this game would be pretty interesting. I think SMU can hold their own in that game, actually. I think they're pretty good this year. And I think they match up all right with Penn State. But I think the weather element here is going to be the biggest factor. These dudes from Penn State, they live and breathe this weather. They practice in this weather. They play games in this weather. This is new territory for SMU. And based on what we saw last weekend with these teams that are coming from Las Vegas and New Orleans and these southern climates that are a little warmer, they really, really struggled in these cold weather environments last weekend in the conference championship game weekend. So I do think it'll be a factor this weekend as well, or this playoff game as well. And I do think that SMU is going to struggle here because of this weather. We'll see. I think it's going to be a fun game, but I'm interested to see how the weather plays a really big factor in that. Follow Big Body Ball CFB on all socials.